Hey, what's up, guys? MLB Corner page here. As always, if you like what you see, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and hit that like and subscribe button. Join the team if you're a baseball fan. So we're going to finish up our divisional predictions. We're going to do the AL West today. I think this may be the one where we actually do argue, and maybe we're a little different in our predictions. But after this, guys, I just want to give you an idea of what we're going to do moving forward. Buster Oney just made his top 10 list for each position, and we're going to analyze that. Respect Buster a lot. I'm just going to see what we think of top 10 first baseman, top 10 third baseman, and kind of give an idea as to what we actually think. So the AL West. So we're going to start off at the bottom. I don't think either one of us are going to argue who the bottom team is. The Mariners finished 68 and 94 last year. I think they're about to start over. Like, I think a lot of these guys are pretty decent players, but they're probably going to get traded. Probably going to get some draft picks. Probably going to try to get some prospects and try to just start like a 5-year plan because they're not really going anywhere. Let's be honest. And the Astros and A's are pretty established within the division.
Right.
What would you say?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's obviously a rebuild time for these guys. They're not going to do too much. I think we talked about it, looking both around like 65 games, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not getting any better. Maybe even worse, few games.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think they're going to trade some of their established players, get some prospects, get some draft picks. And, in 5 years, that could work out for them. So we'll give them – I'll say maybe 68 wins again, but not any better or any worse. I actually got the Rangers going down to fourth place. With that being said, though, I think they can win 80 games. The Kluber trade was pretty big, but the Rangers did not really do a lot in the offseason. I mean, they had all this cap space.
Yeah.
They could have got Castellanos. They could have got Ozuna. They could have got both of them.
They really could have.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of cap space, and they just did nothing. I mean, the only thing they did was bring in Kluber. They were in the Donaldson talk. Didn't work out. They looked into Ozuna. Obviously didn't work out.
Yeah, they're moving into a new stadium this year, too, so I thought they were going to try and make a big move. I thought it was going to be Rendon. I really did. I thought they were going to get Rendon. But he goes within the division, which has got to be pretty disappointing on their end. So I think they got a little better, but they definitely are not, like, over the top a better team than they were last year. So I'll give them 80 wins. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I think it does. I think they're a little bit better than last year, but I would agree. I don't think they're competitive enough to be where the next few teams are, especially with all that cap space.
Yeah, so that's a
it's
lot.
It's got to be frustrating to be a Rangers fan and see all that cap space and look at the roster and you're like, here's a hole, here's a hole, here's a hole.
Yeah, for sure, especially in the outfield. Next, I think the Angels got a lot better. They improved in their pitching staff. They got some pretty decent bullpen guys, and then, of course, the Rendon signing. That was a great signing for the Angels. Like, you got a guy now you can protect Trout. You can't pitch around him anymore. They gave him a lot of money. They did. Like, that deal's got to work for him.
Yeah,
there's no doubt. It has to work for him. But I got 84 wins for the Angels. I think they really did get that much better. Just finally glad to see Mike Trout get some help, too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's been the heart of this lineup for way too long now to not go and win some games. And I think Rendon coming in is going to be a big addition. Like you said, it protects him. But more importantly, it just gives the lineup the extra bat it truly needed to not put all this pressure on Trout at such a young age.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a big Trout fan. And I got the Angels at 84 wins. I don't think they make the playoffs, but they're heading in the right direction. Now, here's where we're going to disagree a little bit, okay?
And before we even jump into that, I was going to say they're a team that I would not be surprised if they don't make a trade or two before the deadline in December.
For sure.
Just wanted to add that real quick.
Now, I've got the Astros falling all the way to 92 games, finishing second within the division. If you remember, guys, 92 was also the total I gave the Rays. So that would be the 2 wild card or the wild card battling out for that spot. But I think the Garrett Cole loss was way bigger than people realize. I think losing the GM is going to be a little bigger than people realize. I don't honestly think Dusty's the guy. If I'm being realistic, I don't think he's a winner as far as a manager goes. So I think the Astros take a step back.
Okay, let me ask you this. What did you think about AJ Hinch before he was the manager of the Astros?
Before he was the manager of the Astros, I mean, promising. Like, yeah, I think he certainly could have been a pretty good manager. I didn't expect all that success with Houston.
Before Houston, he was not a winner, so I don't think the manager in this case is making too much of a difference. But that's neither here nor there. The roster from top to bottom is the exact same. The only thing they're missing now is obviously Garrett Cole. Yeah, it's a huge piece of the puzzle that's helped them win consistent games in the last few years, but it's not making a 20-game difference. It's not.
I got you. Well, I'm going to make my case for the A's, okay?
Before you do, just full disclaimer here. I'm predicting they still break 100. I don't think they get back to 107, but I think they at least win 100 games, maybe 101, and they still win the division. The A's are good. They're not that good. Go ahead.
Okay, before I start on this, mark my word, okay? Jesus Luzardo is a fantasy guy you need to draft. This dude finished last year with a 1.5 ERA in the minors. Got called up to the majors in 12 innings. He only allowed 5 hits. Like I think he's going to be a really good draft pick, especially later on, like the 7th or 8th round. And then here's what I think. Okay, I think Matt Chapman can definitely compete for that AL MVP. I think he finished last year with 36 homers, 91 RBIs, which is ironically the same exact number as Matt Olson. 36 homers. You couldn't predict that. But I think that Chris Davis is going to get a comeback. Okay. Last year, I think a lot of people realize how severe that hip injury was that he had. I mean, they say he probably shouldn't even been playing. He had that big collision in Pittsburgh. He hurt his hip, and then after that, his whole season just went straight down the hill. And finished the season with 23 homers. But if he can get back right, and if the pitching staff can get better, I got him winning 95 games, which I know is technically worse. But I think, with the Angels and the Rangers getting a little better, this division is going to be hell on a daily basis as far as winning games goes. So I got him at 95. Nah. Oh, and I do like Austin Allen, also their catcher. I think he'd be a top 10 catcher this year. I like the A's a lot this year.
I like the A's too, but I think they have the potential to be in that wild card spot. I think, like you said, the division did get harder. It's going to be tougher to win games, but I think they're more around the 92 to 95 mark. I think they're a lot for the wild card position. But I think the Astros still run away with it.
I think so.
Yeah.
So
they're going to break 100.
Okay.
Garrett Cole does not compute to 20 wins.
I think at least 10.
He does, but they've got other people that are going to go win 10 games. And I just don't see that being the biggest difference. I mean, look at how good they were before they brought Verlander in. They were still winning 95 to 100 games. And I think we can agree that they're not the same player by any means, but as far as stats go, they were both in the Cy Young running. So I think comparable with their wins. So I just don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. Obviously, when you lose a guy like Garrett Cole, it's huge. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I don't think it's going to make them that much worse.
Okay. It's going to be a good division, I guess. It's going to definitely.
It is. I think this is one of the better races you're going to see in the AL.
Okay. So that's our prediction for the AL West. Now, like I said, tomorrow we're going to go into Buster Olney's rankings. But I kind of want to hint a little bit. We're eventually going to get into fantasy. Well, my strategy's always been is you put your top 10 players down. Wherever you fall within that top 10, you take that guy, and then you kind of start a draft within that same division. Because say you take Chapman, and then you take, or say you take Chapman, and then later on you take Verlander. Like, these guys are probably going to play each other. It's a little easier to keep up with. It's a little easier to manage, in my opinion. Like, I always try to stay within that same division, and then obviously, somebody like a Stanton or a Judge, somebody you really want, you go take them. But I always, wherever I take in that first round is where I usually try to stay within that same division. Try to make it a little easier to follow.
That's an interesting strategy. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I'm going to try to show you guys why it usually works for me. But I don't know. We got plenty to talk about that before the MLB season starts, and it is coming, guys. The pitchers and catchers they're all going to be reported by the end of the day today. Every team, I think there was 3 teams the first day, and then it's like 12 the next day, and then I think the rest of them are coming in today, so including the Braves. So yeah, absolutely, we're excited. Going to be doing a giveaway on the Instagram page February 26th, and we are going to head out, man. What do you think?
Before we do, a quick question for you. So just to get my understanding of your standings and looking at this now I've got a better picture and understanding. So riddle me this. Go through one time and tell everyone your playoff teams, and I want to go through and go over mine.
Okay, so I'd have the Yankees as the best team. I would have the Twins winning the Central. I'd have the A's winning the West, and then I think it's a toss up between the Astros and Rays for that wild card. And I don't know which way to lean, honestly, but I think that wild card is going to be either the Astros or Rays. It's going to be the 2 spots. Yeah. Okay. Well, you're right. So I got the Astros and Rays. So that's the wild card.
Okay. So our disagreement then is solely right here. Yeah. So obviously I've got the Yankees. I've got the Twins myself. I think the Rays are going to be in the hunt, absolutely, for that wild card spot. And then I've got the Astros winning this division with the A's right there.
Yeah. I think one thing that we definitely could expect here is a trade at the deadline, though. Like,
absolutely.
If the Astros feel like they need another pitcher, the A's feel like they need another pitcher, because that's what it's going to come down to. We know they've got the bats on both teams. That's a big trade, I think, could happen within this division.
And I should have said this earlier. The thing that scares me about the A's, and has always scared me about the A's, one, they're scared to pay money, and they're also scared to sign long-term deals. They just don't do it very often. So you've got a guy like Matt Chapman, who I would not be surprised if he's not on another team at the end of this year, because they're not going to pay him.
Yeah, I think he's sitting on. He signed a 2-year, $34 million last year.
Right.
So I think
he's ready to get paid. He's ready to get his long-term contract. He is definitely worth the money, and he is someone that I'm telling you, this summer, if they're not sitting in first place,
you don't think on the vice versa though. You don't think that's going to drive him to want to get paid, have a bigger year?
Maybe.
Yeah. He's kind of a favorite of mine. If you haven't noticed, I love watching this dude play. I like Olsen a lot too, by the way, not just Chapman. But
so real quick, National League. Let's go back over that.
So in the National League, I've got. Let's see here. In the National League, if we remember right, I had the Braves winning the East. We had the Cardinals winning the Central. We had the Dodgers winning the West. And then, if I remember correctly, we had the Nationals as a wild card once again. And then I believe it was going to be a battle of the Reds and Cubs for that last wild card spot.
Okay. So I'll also disagree just a little bit here. I think the Nationals are good. I think Rendon is a bigger piece of the puzzle gone. I think the Braves repeat and win the East. I think the Cardinals and the Dodgers both return, no doubt about that. But where I see it a little bit different, I think the Reds have a legitimate shot at that wild card. But I'm going to say the Phillies over the Nationals. I think they're going to be pretty neck and neck. I think the Nationals have the upper hand, but I would not be surprised if the Phillies made their push this year.
I mean, I can see that. It wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't. I think you're going to be able to tell real fast, though, if the Phillies got better. Like, if Wheeler, Didi, those signings, like, it's not going to be like come summertime, like, oh, yeah, okay, now that trade's working off. No, I think it's going to be really quick. Like, you're going to be able to say, like, okay, yeah, they're a better team.
I think they finally got the rotation they need to start winning more games. So we shall see. It's going to be a fun season. I'm ready for it to start.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. So, guys, yeah, we're definitely looking around at the fantasy, making our predictions, making our picks, and as soon as we get that together, we'll do a live draft similar to this, where you can see us as we're picking. So, tomorrow we're going to start with Buster Olney's top 10, and we're going to start straight off with the pitchers. That's going to be, I think we got a pretty good idea of the top 4 being Cole, Verlander, Scherzer, and DeGrom.
Well, don't spoil it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a top. Everybody knows those guys should be in the top 4.
I would agree.
Yeah. So, all right. So, as always, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. If you love talking baseball, so do we over there. And as always, we appreciate it, guys. Got anything to say?
No, we'll see you guys soon.
I could totally see the Astros just blowing up, like just
maybe.